So we're going to look at ranging Susan's wrist. So we only have two movements in our wrist. We have extension where we lift our hand up towards the ceiling, and we have flexion where we can drop our hand down. If you're going to start supporting and moving Susan's wrist and fingers through its available range, you want to place one hand under the wrist, not to force anything, and you want to just slowly start to move it. So as you can see, we've got neutral and we don't have a lot of flexion. We've got extension and again neutral, and we're tight in our flexion. So we're going to slowly start moving our wrist down and up. Gradual, slow and controlled movement. We do have some movement also side to side, which is radial and ulnar deviation. And so we move it side to side, up and down. When you've supported the wrist and moved it through its available range, and you feel that the muscles have released and lengthened, you can look at moving and supporting Susan's thumb. So you place one hand under her fingers and you grab hold softly of her thumb, and again it's trying to give it some support as you try and release it from the index finger. So again, if you're bringing it away from the hand and in and away is your abduction, and add is towards. Extension is lifting it to the ceiling, which we don't have a lot of movement in, and flexion is towards her baby finger. So again, we're going to try and release the thumb, because it's impossible to lengthen her fingers without ranging her thumb.
Okay, so thumb first.
Thumb first and then the fingers. So generally, when you are supporting someone's wrist and moving it through its available range, you start the wrist, then you work through the thumb, and then you work through the fingers.
Okay.
There is tightness and tone in Susan's muscles, and that simply means that you will feel the fingers wanting to go against the stretch you're providing. Don't overforce anything. Every day is different. It will also depend on Susan's position, how she's feeling, and if she's been wearing her splint.
Yeah, already you can see that she's more loose now than she was, even just with that amount.
And you can always go back over the steps, working on her wrist, working on her thumb, working on her fingers.
Okay.
The aim is to support the digits, not to force, not to push, or not to pull anything. And if you don't have the range, Susan won't have the range.
And what you were showing you're on way to know that you're having a good effect is before you start, you'll see Mum's hand is sort of cocked out to the right.
So her wrist is radial deviated and her fingers are on her. When you place it down, you will see that they're not.
It's a lot straighter now.
A lot straighter.
Because of the massage.
It's best when you're finished to support Susan's hand on the arm pad or put the splint back on.
Yeah.
10 minutes, dividing the time equally between her wrist, her thumb and her fingers. And at all times, avoiding any pressure directly on her joints. So these are called your MCPs, your dips and your pips, meaning your distal interphalangeal joints and your proximal. You do not want to put any pressure on them. So that's why you're supporting each digit as a whole.
So yeah, you got your fingers wrapped in underneath to support the fingers. And also you seem